what's up peeps? It's your girl Amanda and welcome to The Buzzed Artist, a place where you can unlock your creativity and just have fun with acrylic paint. Today, we are going to dive into Halloween once again. We are going to be making spooky, scary jack-o'-lantern pumpkins with their eyes and grins glowing in the darkness. This is going to be super fun and probably one of my more favorite quick types of paintings. And before we get started, please be sure to like and to subscribe to my channel so that you can see more videos in the future. Let's do this. Hello everybody! So, what we're going to do first is I'm going to show you some of the materials that I will be using to make this really cool painting. So first off, I have a 8x10 pre-gessoed canvas. I got some water, I got some brushes. Now the brushes that I'm using, I have a wide angle brush. This is good for doing large areas of paint. I have a medium-sized brush. This one has a slight rounded tip to it. This is really great for getting those corners and for getting like the smooth curves without spreading out a lot of paint. And I got a small brush as well. And for my colors, we're going to be going pretty simple. So I'm going to be doing a Mars Black with some titanium white, primary yellow, and primary red. Now I'm going to be putting all the links to these particular sets that I'm using in the description below, so be sure to check those out. Okay, so to start, what I'm going to do is I want to do the black background, and then once the black background dries, then I'm going to be putting in the eyes and nose and mouths of the jack-o'-lantern. So I'm just going to pick up my large brush, I'm going to dip it in my paint water, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some black, just straight up black, nothing fancy, and I'm just going to lay down the color like so. And you'll notice that I'm doing vertical strokes. I like this kind of effect. I think it adds like that extra creepy factor. But you can choose to do horizontal lines if you wish. I prefer vertical. And I'm also making sure to get the tops and sides of my canvas as well. Okay, now I'm going to let this dry for a little bit, and then I'm going to show you guys how to do the nose, mouths, and eyes of our jack-o'-lanterns. So I let this dry for a little bit, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to continue adding in another layer of black so that I get a nice, really deep, proper coating. Okay, I'm going to let this dry, and then I'll get the party started. So now that my background is nice and dry, this is now the perfect time to go and start doing those eyes of our jack-o'-lantern. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my medium-sized brush. I'm going to dip it in my paint water. And what I'm going to start by doing is I'm going to start making the yellow color first, and then we'll lay down the orange color second. So I'm just going to take some white, and I'm going to take some, I'm going to take some yellow, and then I'm going to take some white, and I'm going to add them together. I'm adding a little bit of white to the yellow so I can create a little bit of an opaqueness with the color. So I'm just going to go and combine those two colors together so you kind of get this nice like canary yellow. Now once my brush is nicely coated, I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to start to kind of like section off different portions of this canvas. So I want the first face to be like right around this area. So I'm just gonna work from there. I'll lay down the eyes and stuff, and then I'll kind of figure it out. So I'm gonna start with his eyes. Now the first part of his eye on his left kind of has like a little bit of a slant, just like so. Then there's like a little bit of another curve here, a straight line here, and then they kind of curve together, just like that. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and fill that color in. Now, if you feel a little more comfortable upgrading to your small brush, we can do that. In fact, you know what? I will do that just so I can show you how to do this with a small brush. So I'm going to take my small brush, I'm going to dip it in my yellow mix, and I'm going to go ahead and make the other eye. So the other eye, I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to put a line right over here. I'm going to do a line this way. So it's basically like a box, like a diamond almost. So I'm just going to do that. And then I'm just going to fill that color in. The filling in part, you know, if you don't want to use the small brush to do your fill in, just use your medium size. Okay. And there you go. So you just made your eyes. So now we're going to do his nose. Again, you're going to use the same colors, and I'm just going to do a triangle for his nose, just like so. And then, once again, I'm going to do a very toothy jack-o'-lantern smile, if you guys are familiar with this. So I'm just going to start. And you can do this several ways, but the way I like to start is I'd like to kind of get the crease of the mouth going. Then I start to do it one tooth at a time. So I got a tooth here. So I do like a little square. And then, you know, continue on with the smile, another tooth here. And continue on with the smile, and I'm going to leave it at that. So I'm going to do the top teeth here, and then let's see, I'm going to continue the smile, and I like to put another tooth like right here, and maybe another one right here. It's got a nice toothy grin. Okay, so that is part one. So I'm going to go ahead and fill his mouth with the larger brush because I don't want to be here forever. Okay, so now I'm gonna show you how to do like the little glow inside of the pumpkin itself. So this is where you get that really cool embery kind of look. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my small brush and I'm going to dip it in a lot of yellow, and I'm gonna take some red. Okay, so I'm going to combine those two colors together. Now, I am always a little more partial to the yellow than the red when it comes to making orange because red is a very dominating color. So a little of red can really go a long way. As you can see, I'm adding like a lot more yellow after this just to kind of thin it out. Okay, so I kind of got this really nice, cool orange color. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to head back. I'm going to start on my eye. So I'm gonna create like
I don't like this brush. Okay, I'm gonna upgrade to my large brush, and I'm just gonna take that orange, and this time I'm just going to follow the outline of the eye on the left side, and I'm just going to fill in a little bit with the orange. Not the whole eye, just like kind of on the crevices, because you want to create this kind of glow effect that's emanating from inside the pumpkin. You know, when you light a jack-o'-lantern, there's a light source that comes from the inside, so there's a lot of like light that's reflecting on the inside portions of the carved you know, sides of the pumpkin. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. I'm also gonna just like add like little spot, like little like outline of the orange along like the perimeter of the entire outline itself, so it kind of gives it that embery glow. Okay, and then I'm going to continue with the right eye, and this time I'm just going to fill those parts in on the left portion of the right eye. Okay. So it's creating that kind of like burnt, like there's something happening on the inside portion of this pumpkin. And again, I'm just going to go and very lightly outline the rest with the orange. Okay, very cool. Now I'm going to do the same. I'm going to go to my nose, and I'm going to just add in that orange right on the left side of the nose. Notice I'm always working on the same side of this guy's features. Okay. Again, just the tiniest bit of an outline on the nose. Okay. And now I'm going to go on his mouth. I'm just going to go ahead and add that orange. Now, the side of his mouth here, we're assuming we're kind of looking like in this direction. So you're going to see a little bit more of the orange on the, you know, left side of the mouth, or the left side of this guy's features, really. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of like cover the entire side here at least with some orange. And then I'm going to stop like at the first tooth and just start outlining the rest in this orange color. Okay, so very lightly, I'm not doing too much, just a little bit. I'll start outlining in this color. Now what you can do is you can always go back in with that light yellow and white. Sorry, I just like completely didn't remember what the name was. So you can always go back in and just kind of play around with the colors a little bit. You know, you can add a second layer. You can blend what you did with the orange already. This is really completely up to you. I do enjoy good blend, so that's kind of why I always like to go back and forth. So after I apply a color, I like to kind of go back in and like reapply and blend. It's all about like playing with colors and just like having fun with it, you know. So I never believe in just like taking one layer and then you're done. It's like if you especially want to get like a really cool embery kind of looking color, and it's got like a lot of things going on with it, I like to add layers. So I'm going back in with the orange. So basically, when your canvas is still nice and wet, it's the perfect breeding ground for blends.
Cool. All right, so now I'm gonna move on to the next face here. So what I'm gonna do is, once again, I'm gonna grab my small brush so I can do my outlines, and I'm gonna fill the rest in with the bigger brush. So I'm dipping it into my water, and I'm just going to use that light yellow, and once again that's just combining white with some yellow. Okay, so I'm just going to take this color. Now let's see, the next jack-o'-lantern I want to put him like right around here. So I'm just going to work with that space. I kind of like eyeball it and then I start to put it in. So I want to do his eyes. So this time his eyes are different than the first one. So it starts out kind of with like a little bend, and then let me get another longer stroke going down. Then I'm just gonna lengthen this a little bit. Then there's a little semicircle in the middle of the eye, just like so. Okay, so that's eye number 1. I know it looks weird, trust me. And then we've got a curve here. Another curve on the other side. So this particular pumpkin has like a more like rounded looking eye, kind of like very clownish. And then I'm just going to take that, make a little bend on the middle, and that's the other eye. Okay, so that is the outline for the eyes. I'm just going to go ahead and make the outlines for the rest of the features. So he's got a little nose. That's a rectangle. And now he's got an even toothier grin than the first guy. So I'm going to start like right here, and I'm just going to begin creating his very toothy grin. And his grin, you know, it's kind of like all over the place. Like some is pointing one direction, others are, you know, the teeth are pointing in the other direction. So I'm going to get creative with this one. And I'm going to go like right up to here, I think, and then I'm just going to do a grin here and here. And then I'm just going to continue on. Make another toothy bottom grin here. And you know, all the lines of his teeth don't have to be like perfectly the same. Some could be taller, some could be smaller. Okay, so that's how you do the second face. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch to my larger brush here, my medium size. I'm just gonna go in with the white and fill in his features. Okay, once I have it filled out, once again, I'm just going to go back in with the orange and add in those inside burning embers. So I'm just going to take the orange that I made earlier, and I'm just going to, let's see, I'm going to start with his right eye, and I'm going to just concentrate. I'm going to go and add that orange to the left portion of his right eye. I'm just going to go ahead and fill that in a little bit.
messed up a little bit. So I kind of like went into the black portion. That's okay. You have black paint, so you can always go back in later and kind of just do some finishing touches, which I'll do later. But right now, I'm just adding color, that's all. So I kind of have like a concentrate of color happening like right on the top portions of the eye here. And then I'm going to add some more on the right side here, or on the left side of the left portion of his eye. Okay. Okay. Alright, and I'm going to go to his nose. I'm going to go to the left portion of the nose. And I'm going to go on the bottom and make an outline. Once again, I'm not too worried if I go like outside the bounds that I made previously. I can always go back over with the black. So this is very forgiving. It's okay. And now I'm going to go into his mouth. And I'm gonna go to the right side actually for a second here. I'm gonna add like a lot of that orange here on this side. And then I'm just gonna start outlining. Once again, you can always move over to your smallest brush that you have to do this part. It is more of a on the detailed side. Okay, so once I lay down that color, what I'm gonna do is go back in with my yellow. Remember how I said I always like to work in layers. So once I lay down the first layer, put on the second one, then I kind of go back and forth and kind of I just kind of figure it out from there. So I'm just gonna go back in, make that light yellow that I made prior, and I'm just gonna go ahead and mix that with the orange that I previously set down. And because my orange is still pretty wet, it's gonna blend really nicely and create this even more of a realistic looking effect. Okay, so don't be afraid to mix. And if you're looking at your mix and you're like, ooh, that that didn't work, that was way too much, you can always go back and fix it. It's okay. You know, a lot of people kind of punish themselves whenever they paint because they look at a mistake they make and they're just like absolutely, you know, devastated. And, you know, you have to kind of go into painting understanding that you will be making mistakes. It's inevitable. And it's not even mistakes at that point. It's just like you're figuring stuff out in the creative process. So you have to be okay with knowing that you're not going to be quite there right away with whatever it is you're doing. You have to be okay with that. There's kind of like, there's really no way that I can sit here and tell you that everything will be perfect. You know, this is your journey. You're figuring stuff out and trying to understand like where what best suits your needs and your wants. So just because it doesn't happen right away doesn't mean you're not meant to do this. I mean, if there were many times when I looked at something I did and didn't like it. Didn't mean I stopped. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here talking with you guys today. I just keep going. Such is the allegory of life, my dears. So I'm just kind of going back and forth with my colors. Just playing around. Having a good time. The orange. Okay. Now I want to do one more face. Now this one is going to be a familiar one that you've probably seen in many movies, and that one is The Night Before Christmas, Jack Skellington. It looks a lot like him. This is not exactly him, but I will show you how to do his face. So I'm going to go pull out my small brush once more. Now I'm going to gravitate this time. I want to put his face like right around here. I think that would be great. And let's see, how do I want him? So I want him kind of looking out like this way. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my brush, and again I'm just going to be using my my white and my yellow. I'm just going to mix those two together. Okay. Now to do Jack, his face is going to have to be a little smaller because of the other two here. That's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the top portions of his large eyes. So I'm just going to take my brush and I'm just going to do a curved line going down like so. Then I'm going to take my brush and do a large dip, just like so. Okay, so that's one eye. That's he's known for having those like big cavernous eyes. So I'm just gonna go ahead and like just make sure that gets rounded out a little bit. But that's eye number one. Now eye number two, oops, I almost dipped. I'm gonna be doing the same thing but for the second eye. So the second eye kind of has that rounded first stroke there. Then it's kind of, this might go off the canvas a little bit, but that's okay. I'm just going to continue on. Make that portion of the eye. Okay. Now the ear, excuse me, not the ears, the nose is very simple. It's literally just two lines, so I'm just going to do a line, the slanted line on one side and a slanted line on the other, and that's it. Okay, and then for his mouth, Jack, or rather not Jack, but the this particular type of vision of ghost or jack-o'-lantern has he's got a lot more teeth. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna start with his grin. I'm gonna probably start it like right around here, and I'm just gonna do squiggly line because he's got a lot of teeth. So I'm just going to kind of fix it up there, and then I'm gonna continue on the grin. Now the bottom teeth have they're more sharp looking, so I'm just gonna make them very skinny looking teeth. Basically I'm not gonna do the comical like rectangles like we were doing prior. These are more like close together, a little more menacing. So he's got some teeth. And then I'm going to connect the two. Okay, so that's the third face. So I'm going to go ahead, take my larger brush, my medium size. I'm just going to go ahead and fill that in with this color. Looking pretty spooky, huh? Okay, and like we did before, I'm going to go in with my orange. And I'm just going to go ahead and add that. I'm going to use like the left portion, the eye on the left side here. Fill that in with the orange. Make that outline down here. Then on the right side of the eye, I'm just going to fill in the rightmost portion of the eye here. Okay. Again with the nose, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to kind of do two little lines, nothing crazy. And then with his mouth, on the sides, I'm going to do like a little bit of a thicker line with the orange. And then I'm going to go ahead and just add in the hint of orange on the perimeter of the line. And let's see here. I'm actually gonna upgrade to my, well, downgrade to my smallest brush because I want to get the most control from this part. So I'm just gonna use my small brush. You can continue on using your medium brush if you're comfortable with it, considering that this part is, you know, the mouth here is a little more difficult because it's tinier, it's got a lot more like details and crevices. I'm just gonna go ahead and add the orange with this brush. So the rightmost portion of his mouth, he's got a thicker orange going on there. Okay. Okay, and once I add in that, I'm just going to go back in once again. Remember the blending thing? I'm going to go back in with my yellow, my medium brush, and I'm just going to go ahead and blend what I got. Then I'm going to go back in with my orange and just kind of repeat. All right, cool beans. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go back in. Remember how I was saying that if there's some portions in your painting where you felt you needed more black or just to tune it up a little bit, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Okay, and we are good to go. So this is the completed painting. Good job. I hope you guys had fun.
And that's a wrap. I hope you guys had a great time watching this video and learning and doing this along with me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Be sure to like and subscribe for more videos. And if you have an idea for a future painting that you would like for me to do, all you gotta do is just comment below and let me know what kind of paintings you want me to do, and I will do them. So once again, my name's Amanda. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!